Music back with another tutorial. Today I'm gonna show you how to properly export stems slash trackouts from your productions in FL Studio. So I'm gonna open up a track I did on stream. This is River 6. My friend is theoretically going to rap over the beat. We might reproduce it a bit. But yeah, and before we get into anything else, I want to go over the concept of stems versus trackouts, because it's a very misunderstood subject. Stems stand for stereo mixes, whereas trackouts are the individual tracks. What does that mean? A stem would be a stereo mix file, say, of your drum mix. It would just be drums, and it'd have your whole kit. Kick, snare, clap, snap, close hi-hat, open hi-hat, perks, crashes, effects tracks, little, like, you know, your little perks and stuff, and your little filler sounds, chops, snares, all that kind of stuff. That would be printed down to one stereo drum mix. Trackouts are when you export each individual element: piano, kick, snare, clap, arpeggio, loops, perk loops, hi-hat loops, drum fills, all that stuff, as individual tracks, pads, all that stuff. So when you are sending your tracks out, you need to know which one to send: a trackout mix, like all your trackouts, or stem mixes, because stem mastering is a new and upcoming field where people just send stems instead of giving a full mix to the mastering engineer. People just send them the stems, and the mastering engineer does the final kind of mix down, in a sense. So that being said, I'm going to show you the easiest and most efficient way to do it. First things first, you want to organize your session. As you can see, mine is relatively organized. I have, you know, my piano track, my arpeggio track, my pads, my other arpeggios, my loops, my drums, my 808, my little transition effects, and whatever else. And then you can see I have all the prints down here. But as you can see, I have broken down my arrangement into 3 different categories: producing, mixing, where I have the all the stems, or yeah, all the trackouts printed, and then my mastering, which is where I'm doing the final master. But for this case, we're going to go to producing. So let's jump over to the other screen, and you should see how well I have arranged it. Okay, so we see we have piano, arp, pad, some, stabs, arp, left, whatever. And then we have everything here: kick, snare, a clap, all this stuff. Then we have our effects and our side chains and all this stuff. The best way and easiest way to do this, if we jump back to the other screen, is simply when you go to export, you want to do WAV file. You can also do Control R. I like doing that. And what I would recommend is making a new folder. So let's make a new folder here. We're going to call this River Sticks. That's the name of the track. Trackouts. So we go in there, hit save, and now we have the menu. First thing you want to do, full song. You want to do the full song, obviously. Tail, this is up to you. I would recommend either cut remainder or leave remainder. Don't do wrap remainder. The wrap remainder is specifically for people making loops, where it wraps the tail end of the track around to the beginning of the track, so it loops seamlessly. And when you're doing loops, you don't want to do MP3s, because MP3 compression affects the timing. You want to stick to WAV. But for me, I have dedicated, I will show you right here, on my mixer, or on my arrangement view, I have my intro, my hook, my verse. And it's very useful to do this for one specific reason, and I will go to mastering to show you. As you can see, the loop points inside of FL have been retained, or not the loop points, the marker points. So you can see there's a start. It's right here, this little orange triangle at the corner. So I have my intro, my hook. That will make it easier for whoever is dealing with the project to work with it. So let's go back to the other view, to the producing, and let's hit Control R. We're going to go to our folder, River 6 Trackouts. We're going to hit save. So next, we're going to want to do wave. You want to do either 24-bit or 32-bit. 32-bit if you have a lot of high gain stuff and you don't have a lot of headroom and stuff might be clipping, you want to do that. If you gain stage properly, 24-bit will be perfectly fine for you. For your resampling, you want this at the highest quality possible. It's going to take a longer time, but it's worth it for the higher quality. So now, under miscellaneous, this is where we're going to get to the main part. Save playlist markers. You want to check this. Save loop markers. That's up to you. Save tempo information. You definitely want to check this. And then we have the final option that's the most important. Split mixer tracks. This will split all of your mixer tracks and basically export each mixer track, each one of the tracks on your mixer as its own step. Then you want to make sure you trim PDC silence. This is plugin delay compensation silence. Basically, to account for plugin delay compensation and latency, they add a little bit of silence to the beginning of the track. You want to trim that so it starts where you want it to. A lot of beginning producers don't have this checked, and you'll notice that when you take a beat off of YouTube and put it into your DAW and put it at the right tempo, it might not line up perfectly. It'll be off by just a little bit. That's because there's a tiny bit of silence at the beginning. Now, if you're going to do this, you want to uncheck Enable Master Effects, and it's up to you whether you want to enable Insert Effects or not. This depends on who you're sending it to and how they work. If they work in the way that they want to keep all your EQ, keep all your compression, keep all your reverb, delay, all that stuff, then you want to enable it. If they want it completely raw, no EQ, no compression, then you would turn this off. But for now, I'm going to turn it on because let's say I do want to keep it. But I'm going to turn off the master effects because I'm sending it off to someone to do that part of the mix. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and I will join you as soon as it's done. Alright, we are back. So, now that we can see what we have all of these elements here. And real quick, what you want to do is take your current and your master, just select those two and delete them. Now, we have a few extra tracks here. Like for me, I have pad left, right, and the sum. In my case, I would delete left and right and leave the sum. And we have the side chains. I would delete those as well. And the rest is good to go. So then what you would do is take this, and honestly, what I tend to do, I will just put it in a notepad, just as a .text file. I would put the tempo, 115 BPM, and the key, which I honestly forgot. So I'm going to go take a look at this and see what the key is. E flat. So the key is E flat minor. Now we'll hit save and go to, and if you're really feeling it, what you can do is also select all of them and see how many files there are. There's 27 items I can see right here. So I would put 27 total tracks. And I would hit save and just go to where that is saved. And put it as a .txt, call it readme or info, or like readme or track info, something obvious and easy to understand, and hit save. That way, whoever is working on the project will be able to see immediately. They'll see, okay, I know the key, I know the tempo, I can set up my session and my auto-tune, and I know if I have all the all the tracks. Like, hey, you said 27, but say when they get it, they're missing the epic fill. And the other, oh, you know what? I would want to delete the FX bus. And let me see. There's probably a drum bus here somewhere. Yeah, the drum bus. I would delete that as well. So then I would see, okay, I have in total, I actually have 25 items, 26 including the track info. So then I would update this to 25 total tracks. And then what you would want to do is select it, right click it, and go to add to archive and set it as a zip file. And then hit OK. And there's another option. Make sure this is unchecked, delete files after archiving. That basically will delete everything after you create a zip. I don't like doing that. So it's going to go ahead and compress. I will see you in just a second. Okay, it looks like it's done. So now we can see we have one file, and look at the file size. River Styx Trackouts, if I go to properties, you will see it's 1.62 gigs. That's fucking huge. If I go to River Styx Trackouts, right click property, it is 419 megabytes. It is less, it's like a quarter of the size would be like 500 megs. It's literally less than a quarter of the size. So you want to make sure to do that. And then everything should be in order. And if I was to open a new session and go to the folder, drag all the tracks and import them. Give it 1 second while we import, and I will show you. Here we go. Everything is organized. Everything starts at the beginning and ends at the end. Now it looks like it's off, but if I was to set the tempo to 115, it would perfectly fit as 117 bars. And as you can see, all of those track markers are preserved. We have hook 1, we have the verse, the pre-chorus, the hook, everything. The verse, pre-chorus, hook, bridge, and last hook, and then the outro. And it goes up until the end. So we preserve all that silence. And that silence is important for delay, feedback, reverb, tails, fade outs, all that stuff. You want to give extra space and leave it to the final mixing, mastering engineer to give that cutoff point at the end of the song. But I personally just try to make it even with either timing or beats and bars. That's just because I'm a little bit OCD. But yeah. So that's how you export stems inside of FL Studio. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Sad Boy Music signing off. Goodbye.